Hey, BassGeek here, and there's a lot of great topwater baits that you can catch bass on during the summer. But geeks, I think there's one category of topwater baits that most anglers forget, and it could be costing you your biggest topwater bites of the season. And I'm going to show you what these baits are, when, where, why, and how to throw these baits, and the setup you need to do it. So the category I don't think gets enough love, and we hear a lot about the larger version of these, and there's a very particular version of them that gets a lot of love when it comes to like the big swim bait guys. But for me, these are baits that I love to throw this time of year, especially early in the morning, and that's when I like to fish. They also work incredibly well at night this time of year. And what we're talking about, it's wake baits, but not just any wake baits. We're talking about multi-joint wake baits. So a little bit bigger. Now, not something you're going to need special gear for. So not those huge rats or those huge, wake baits. We're talking about the good old, 4 or 5 inch wake baits. And there's really 2 times during the day when it comes to summertime that I love to fish these baits. 3 if you count night fishing. But for the most part, like I'm a day angler. I love to get out first thing in the morning, like maybe right before daylight, and fish a little bit shallow, and then move out there and follow those bass until they get out there in that open water. And that's when, for me, a wake bait, a bigger wake bait, a multi-joint wake bait really shines. The other time of the day is really when the sun is up high and those bass go moving in to those targets, laydowns, docks, marinas, something that really gives those bass some overhead cover. And what you need is a little bit bigger wake bait. Like I said, something in that 5 inch, something that's really going to give a nice big wake, but I like it to be a little silent. Multi-joint, it's going to have a little rattle to it, but there's no need to add rattles to it. Something that's super natural, and a multi-joint is going to do that. That 5 inch, going to call those bass up or going to call those bass over when it comes to fishing around those docks, or again, around those laydowns like you see right here behind me. This is a big deal, throwing these during the middle of the day where I live at. But like I said, during the morning, that's really the prime time. Right before sunlight and just a few hours after, you can get some huge bites with some bass that have moved up. Me and Mike always joke about 9 a.m. here, the bass seem to move out to the open water and suspend and hit topwater. I mean, we could almost set our watches by it. We've been chasing that pattern for so many years. So we like to throw it right before we get to that 9 o'clock hour. And then once we get to about that 11, 12 o'clock hour, when we start to see those same bass move back into those trees. Once you get into that 12 and 1, a wake bait can destroy around cover for you. So the wake bait that we're talking about, the one that's really going to call up the bass, that's going to get some really good bites for you. But don't worry, it's still going to catch some good numbers. So we're not talking about something that's going to sacrifice catching some fish and having a good day on the water for something that's just so large you're only targeting those biggest of biggest bass. But at the same time, you're going to be targeting those big bass with this bait. The action of this wake bait is different than a lot of your standard wake baits that are just a solid single body. It's a multi-joint, and it looks a lot like a bait fish, a big shad, a bluegill that's dying on the surface. What that is, it's the bull wake from Buka Brands. So I picked up 2 colors because I fish a lot of clear water, and 90% of the time I'm just going to use 2 different colors, one for low light, one for high sun and brighter days. This is the gizzard shad. Now this is a 5 inch bait. It is multi-joint, but this is the one that I'm going to throw when I got a little lower light. Now the one I'm going to throw in clear water 99% of the time, absolutely when the sun's up, absolutely when it's slick calm. And like today, we're talking about 12 to 15 feet of visibility in the water, so it's super clear. and that is the mat shad. So let's talk about what makes these baits so great. So they are a 5-inch bait. And of course, geeks, hey, take a drink. They got a little bit of girth to them, all right? That's one of the things that I like. You're going to call these bass up when you're fishing, you know, like I said, 5, 8, 10, 12 feet of visibility. You're going to be fishing around a lot of the things we talked about earlier, you know, laydowns, humps, points, rock piles, anything, docks, over top of grass, anything that those bass can hide in. And so I like to have a little bit of drawing power. And a 5-inch bait, this bait may look much bigger than what it is, but it's a 5-inch bait. They're going to swallow it. 2-pounders will destroy this. And occasionally you'll get that 1-pounder that comes up and destroys it. So, of course, you've got, I love the mat, how they even mat out the bill. So it's got this rounded large head, which keeps that head up, causing this bait to wake. And you can see it's got a lot of motion in those joints. It does come with replacement tails, and that gives it a really great sliding S-action as it comes through the water. Next up is the hooks. We've already got good hooks on here. I don't know for sure if those are like triple grips, but they sure do look like them. Good hooks, they're super sharp. You're not going to have a problem catching those bass, landing those bass when they eat this thing. It's really key that you have the right rod when you're fishing this, really the right combo, period. And geeks, again, I've fished so many different rod and reel companies. I'm not telling you to go out and buy this particular one. You know, hey, if you do and you use those links down in the description, because we do have Tackle Warehouse affiliates and it does help us out. It does help us out. If you don't want to help us out, don't use those links. I don't care. Don't buy this rod and reel. I don't care. I'm just telling you what's going to help you cast the bait longer, get a good hook set, get good action out of the bait, and land those fish a little bit better. That's all I'm trying to tell you to do, okay? Now, all that being said, this is a 7'3" medium heavy fast, mod fast action Fitzgerald Versa. This is a great rod. I've got one that I have used for years for my lighter jerkbait. And I mean, we have caught so many fish on that rod, it's incredible. So a great, great series of rods in my opinion. Now, this is an older Daiwa. This should tell you right here, I'm not trying to daggone sell you nothing because they don't even make this no more. But I will put a rod, the new version, I guess, of it, down in the description. And the key to that is you really need a slower speed reel, because if you reel it too fast, you will cause the bait to dive and not wake. So a 6'3" to 6'5" to 1 is key. Now when it comes to line, generally I'm going to use 15-pound mono on this. You can use braid, you can use like, you know, 50, 65-pound braid on here too. Maybe a mono leader, that's fine too, because both of those are going to float, and that's the key. You need all the buoyancy you can get to be able to keep that bait up on top of the water. Now when it comes to retrieves, I'm telling you, all you got to do is read the back of this box. The bull wake, it tells you exactly what to do. You're going to target those big fish areas, laydowns, wood, you know, that shallow cover that those big bass are going to be in, docks, fishing it over grass edges, that sort of stuff. That's where you want to throw this bait. Now I fish a lot of clear water, and the two colors that I talked about were the two clear water colors, but they make a ton of different colors you definitely want to go check out. But as far as retrieves go, it's right on the back of the box again. You're just going to make a nice long cast past that cover. You don't want to land it right on top of it. You want to land it past that cover, come right up to it, sometimes stop it, and then get it going. Don't let it linger. One of the big things. When you're over the meat of that cover, you want to stop it just for a second so those deeper bass can come up, and then get her going again. So stop it for maybe a second, get it going, maybe reel it another 5-10 feet, stop it again for a second and get it going. That drives those bass wild once they come up out of that cover. And that's really the entire retrieve. Now, if the bull wake isn't staying on top, more than likely you're reeling too fast. You've got too fast of a reel, so slow down, or you're using fluorocarbon. Don't use fluorocarbon. Use mono or braid. It floats. It's going to help keep this bait up. It's not a little bait. It does float, but that bill is going to want to pull it down. So the right speed is key. Now this is where that moderate tip rod really comes into play, because it is treble hooks. So when that bass comes up and hits it, you're going to want to make sure you side set. You're going to want to make sure you keep that rod tip down, and you're going to want to make sure that you bring that bass in. Again, that's a pretty big bait. It's got a lot of leverage. He can pull those treble hooks out. So get him to the boat, get him in a net. Do not thumb this bait. Don't bow hop them. You're going to lose them, because the bites you're going to get on here are going to be some pretty good sized bass. No doubt it is frog season, and again, we have heard a ton of frogs and stuff like these laydowns and these pockets today, not to mention the bluegills that we know are up on the beds. And so a popping frog is an incredible bait, even if you don't have grass, and we have got a good one that you need to go check out. If you go check it out right here. Otherwise, questions and comments in the comments section below. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad. You geeks rock.